True Talk Show with Inio Bot on Jesus House Radio. Let's have some true enlightening talk.
So as always, we're talking about news headlines for the first segment. My news headline happens to be about the food banks and what Baroness Jenkins, her comments about it. Basically, she said the rise of food banks are due to people not having cookery skills. Isn't that diabolical? Isn't that for us? So I think she was basically saying her comments were, today she had porridge, which cost her 4p. And if you were to buy porridge on the shelf, it costs you 25p. And it's obviously because it's manufactured that way. They put sugar, they put all these added ingredients. That's why it costs 25p. So she was saying perhaps people don't. I mean, she didn't say this, but I'm just trying to help her out here. So perhaps she was saying people don't rummage through the cupboards and make do what they have. Mm-hmm. They just rely on takeaways. They rely on kind of salty food, that kind of
I think people need
foods.
to have the food in the first place to be able to rummage and find it.
Okay.
Some of the people a lot of the people that are coming to food banks really have nothing. I mean, they who wants to go to a food bank? It's a bit like in the old days when you used to have to go to the job agency and get your dole money and things like that. It was highly embarrassing. Mm-hmm. It was highly, you felt strange about doing something like that because no normal human being really wants to get something free because it takes something away from you. So to say that they can't cook, I think is really, really insensitive.
Okay. And also there's also another argument about budgeting skills. People lack budgeting skills, so therefore they run out of the essentials. So they're more likely to go to a food bank. And one of the items that are most requested from food banks is toilet paper.
Well, you know something, if you say that they don't have budgeting skills, then you need to go back to the schools and see what the schools are actually teaching them.
Good point.
And then that it starts from there, doesn't it? Because if you haven't been taught, you're not going to do something don't know about. And you don't know that you don't know until you're having to, use those skills. So, of course, they will maybe run out or not budget well. I mean, even the government has problems budgeting.
Sorry. What do the rest of you guys think about what Baroness Jenkins said?
Oh, well, I didn't read the story, but thinking about it now, it might be worth thinking that there are different sides to the story.
Yeah.
So even though she might be able to plan ahead and plan right, doesn't mean that other people aren't dealing with issues that will stop them from, providing good food for the families. And
also there's an argument about the facilities you cook food with. Some people might just live in a room that has just a microwave. So, cooking some potatoes, boiling potatoes, whatever it is, it's quite an arduous task and it's quite a dangerous task in a one bed set, that kind of thing. So I guess there's an argument for facilities, housing facilities, perhaps to be able to do that kind of thing.
But a lot of people are put into one bedroom places in bed and breakfast. And they're not allowed to cook.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Therefore, how are you expecting them to do anything more than, open a tin or open something that will have all those things that she's talking about?
Go buy takeout.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the easiest thing to do.
But then what about nutrition then? Because, if you're having cans and cans of vegetables and, cans of potatoes, that kind of thing, you're not really consuming any fresh produce. And we're talking here about wastage as well. There's an argument also. There's so many arguments here. There's something about wastage and, the supermarkets, once an item hits the sell-by date, just throw it away. Why not perhaps just give it to people who
I think they're already doing things like that already in some places, but it doesn't suit everybody and it doesn't suit the food bank type situation, which, I mean, I actually volunteer in a food bank, so I see what's happening daily. And what tends to happen is that we collecting the food, and it's better to have a tinned product or a packaged product, and then that is kept, and then once a week the people are asked to come and pick up their what they need, if it's for a single person, if it's for a 2-person family, or if it's a family with children. You're given what is in the food bank that can suit your requirements.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is that I can understand why a toilet roll might be difficult, because I mean, toilet roll can be quite expensive too.
Yeah.
And if you are in a situation where you've got to buy bread to eat or toilet roll, you decide which one you're going to get. So they're having to make some very difficult choices based on difficult circumstances that they've either found themselves in. There are a lot of people out there that are depressed. There are a lot of people who are not well, who are not capable of actually making some of those decisions that we're expecting them to make. They're needing help, which they haven't got. That's why they've got into this situation. I mean, I could tell you some stories, but,
you're making got so many valid points, Mekanim. Pastor Joy, would you like to wade in on this aspect?
I was going to say, because with regards to the food, I know for sure that some supermarkets are really doing something in that regard. And the thing is this, whether people will make the effort to find out when is the time to go for the food from the stores. Because I, as a mother, I do going to ask that at some point and say that there's some food at a very, very reduced price. Lower, So it's all about making a little bit of effort to help yourself. And we don't want to abuse the opportunity if we are being given food in a way to help us. Sometimes people should make a little bit of effort for themselves. I do understand money is not easy to get by these days.
No, definitely not.
Some of these people maybe have difficulty in getting their gas and electricity considering the weather now. So they rather kind of spend the money buying their food and don't have money to put on their gas or electricity, or put gas on electricity and don't have food, whereas they can go to a food bank and pick up some food. So there is something going on there from different stores to help people, but people should make a little bit of effort as well to help themselves.
But you have to remember that the food that they're given is not forever. They're given a stopgap amount, which maybe they will be given food 5 times. So that's once a week for the next 5 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, depending on the circumstances. So don't think that they're going to be fed there forever. They're meant to then be passed on to other services that would enable them to either look for a job, better their circumstances, enable them to be able to learn how to budget, find out what's happening to their money if they're getting money from the social services, and see how that can be rechanneled or they could be retrained. So it's not like forever.
Okay, fantastic.
The True Talk Show with Inio Bot on Jesus House Radio. Let's have some true enlightening talk.